Formula One, often hailed as the pinnacle of motorsports, has been the face of racing for countless years. As a deeply passionate, if not entirely intellectual F1 fan, I'm here to demystify it for you. While F1, with all its glamour, beauty, speed, adrenaline, and engineering marvels, might initially seem like just 20 incredibly wealthy individuals driving in circles, there's so much more beneath the surface. For those looking to dive into the world of Formula One, this guide will be your perfect starting point. And for you diehard fans still watching, prepare for a wild ride down the rabbit hole. So, grab your popcorn, and if you're a Ferrari fan, maybe a tissue, because this is Formula One explained by an enthusiast. Let's begin with the basics. F1 is a sport where 10 teams, each with 2 drivers, compete for points that accumulate towards a driver's world championship. Think of it like a global high-speed trophy chase. The F1 season typically runs from late February to November. December to February is the off-season, a period of quiet for some, but for dedicated fans, it's when the spiciest F1 news often drops, akin to hearing your favorite manager got fired or a colleague moved to a rival company. This year, there are 24 different races, and in each race, drivers score points. The driver with the most points at the end of the season wins the championship. Points are only awarded to drivers who finish within the top 10, which means for the other 10 drivers on the grid, it's often a tough day at the office. These points also contribute to a Constructors' Championship, which is the combined total of points from both drivers in a team. The team with the most points from both drivers claims the Constructors' Championship, and generally, the higher a team places, the more prize money they receive. Every single team in F1 must have 2 drivers. There's no way around it. They might also have a reserve driver, someone ready to step in if a primary driver falls ill or is unable to compete. Teams like Aston Martin, for example, have a consistent lineup, though their performances can be a frequent topic of discussion among fans. Before each season begins, every team develops a car that adheres to strict regulations set by the FIA, which stands for the Fédération Internationale de l'Automobile, is the governing body that crafts these rules. Teams must follow these regulations while striving to develop the fastest car possible to help their drivers win points. Car development also heavily involves engines. Currently, there are 4 main engine manufacturers in F1: Mercedes, Ferrari, Honda, and Renault. Teams choose an engine supplier and then build the most aerodynamically efficient car on the grid. If they don't, well, let's just say the results can be quite dramatic. Alright, get ready for some rapid-fire F1 terminology. These are the essential terms you'll need to grasp everything else we're about to cover. First up, pole position. This is awarded to the driver who sets the fastest time in qualifying and consequently starts first on the race grid. Some drivers, like Charles Leclerc, are very familiar with starting from pole, even if winning from it sometimes proves challenging. Next, we have the podium. In F1, a podium finish means a driver is placed within the top 3 in a race. They get to stand on a raised platform after the race and celebrate, sometimes even breaking a trophy in their excitement. Backmarkers refers to the teams or drivers who are consistently at the rear of the field, often struggling to keep pace with the leaders. Then there are P1, P2, and P3, where P stands for position, and the number indicates the finishing rank. It's quite straightforward, really. Pit stops are where drivers pull into their pit box to change tires and sometimes make minor adjustments to the car, often in under 3 seconds, a truly incredible feat of teamwork and precision. Finally, DRS, or the drag reduction system, is a mechanism that opens a flap on the car's rear wing, reducing aerodynamic drag and allowing for higher top speeds. It can only be activated in specific DRS zones on a racetrack, usually during overtaking opportunities. Now let's talk about race weekends, which outline the schedule for an F1 event, typically spanning Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday is dedicated to free practice sessions, where drivers familiarize themselves with the track and teams gather data. Saturday is qualifying, which determines the starting grid positions for Sunday's race. And Sunday, of course, is race day. To give you a more passionate explanation of a race weekend, Fridays are often filled with hopeful delusions. Saturdays see Ferrari fans at their most optimistic, and Sundays usually end with Red Bull fans celebrating, as we hear the Dutch national anthem for what feels like the 23rd time in a year. So, what happens once the race begins? The aftercalls go out and we are away. Believe it or not, it's not just cars going in circles endlessly, though that's a big part of it. There's also tire wear, which is crucial. There are different tire compounds. Hard tires last the longest. Soft tires offer the most grip but wear out the fastest, and medium tires are a compromise between the two. Then there are wet tires, used when the track is very wet and slippery, and intermediate tires, for when the track is only somewhat damp, usually around 1 to 3 millimeters of moisture, whereas wet tires are ideal for 4 millimeters or more. My apologies for sounding like a complete tire nerd, but my F1 addiction is truly incurable. I'd watch F1 while doing literally anything, even to the point of watching videos of a monkey setting the fastest lap. Back to pit stops. This is where teams rapidly switch out tires during a race. Teams are mandated to pit at least once and change to a different tire compound. Red Bull's pit stops are legendary for their speed and efficiency, often completed in less than 3 seconds. Ferrari's pit stops, on the other hand, have sometimes been the subject of much discussion and occasionally confusion, with tires not always ready when the car pulls in. Strategy plays a huge role. Different races may require different tire combinations or pit stop numbers. Some races might demand 2 pit stops because the tires don't last long enough, while others might see teams risk a single stop strategy. Strategies can change dynamically during a race, but teams always aim for the most optimal tire combination, a concept that Ferrari sometimes approaches with unique creativity. With all this information about Formula One now at your fingertips, you're probably wondering which team to support. As your highly insightful F1 guide, I'm going to offer you the most accurate, unfiltered guide to F1 teams and drivers you'll ever find. Trust me, the world has never seen more precise information than what you're about to hear. Let's start with Ferrari. This team has pretty much cultivated a loyal fan base of perpetually optimistic, yet often disheartened, drivers and fans since 2007. Their team strategies can be so baffling, they make you question reality, and they've certainly challenged their storied legacy as one of Formula One's strongest teams. Their star driver, Charles Leclerc, has likely invested heavily in therapy after the roller coaster that was the 2022 season, and his contract extension might just mean more sessions. Drivers, much like employees, can be replaced or retained when their contracts expire. For instance, Carlos Sainz is set to be replaced by Lewis Hamilton in 2025, a move that has the F1 world buzzing. Next up, Red Bull. Their unofficial theme song is arguably the Dutch national anthem, and many fans likely gravitated to them, either because they're Dutch or because they needed a winning team to support after years of disappointment elsewhere. Red Bull's Formula One car is often likened to an F-35 fighter jet, largely thanks to their chief technical officer, Adrian Newey, who seems to have an entire research facility built into his brain. As for their drivers, Max Verstappen is known for his fierce competitiveness, and Sergio Perez has faced challenges with consistency, particularly in 2023. Then we have Mercedes. Their team principal, Toto Wolff, is famously known for his intense reactions and, on occasion, for printing out documents during races. They used to dominate the sport for years but have recently struggled to build a car capable of consistently challenging for wins. Mercedes fans are a passionate bunch. Some are incredibly witty, while others, particularly those fiercely loyal to Lewis Hamilton, can be quite vocal about his legacy as a 7-time world champion. While I understand the fervor, especially regarding the controversial 2021 season, you'll find 8-time world champion referenced in the most unexpected places, even in analyses of the Cars movie. To the more fervent Team LH fans, instead of debating past decisions, perhaps channel that energy into wishing Lewis the best as he embarks on his new chapter with Ferrari in 2025. Mercedes' other driver, George Russell, has a knack for finding himself in on-track incidents, often leading to dramatic radio messages. McLaren. is the vibrant Papaya team, instantly recognizable by their orange livery. They boast a rich and strong history in F1, provided we politely overlook their challenging partnership with Honda. Overall, they are a formidable powerhouse alongside Mercedes, Ferrari, and Red Bull. Their driver, Lando Norris, has been chasing that elusive first P1 finish for a while, and his interviews are often a source of unique, entertaining commentary. His teammate, Oscar Piastri, is a remarkably talented young driver whose calm demeanor often belies his impressive speed. Alpine is what I call the unpredictable team. They often seem to be fighting internal battles as much as they are competing on track. They tend to blend into the midfield, not always standing out. But if you appreciate a car that's pink, like one of my friends who knows nothing about F1, then by all means support them. As for their drivers, they are both French, a fact that's often highlighted with a touch of humor. Williams has a storied history, much like the other big powerhouses, but recent financial challenges have hampered their ability to consistently compete at the front. After years as backmarkers, their comeback has been slow but steady. As for their drivers, Logan Sargent has been known for some intriguing track moments, and Alex Albon is widely regarded as a very capable and pleasant driver. Aston Martin showed immense promise at the start of the 2023 season, only to stumble dramatically as the year progressed, struggling with car development. Throughout the F1 season, teams can introduce upgrades to their cars, provided they stay within the cost cap, which is a limit on how much they can spend annually. While upgrades usually work brilliantly, Aston Martin's mid-2023 additions seem to have the opposite effect. Their driver, Fernando Alonso, is a seasoned veteran who, despite his age, continues to perform at an incredibly high level and even engages with fans on social media. Their other driver, Lance Stroll, has faced criticism for inconsistent performances, which has sometimes drawn playful jabs from other teams. Finally, we have Sauber and the RB Formula One team. These teams often find themselves in the backmarker positions. They rarely stand out, which is a shame. Their drivers are a diverse bunch. One might have a knack for narrowly missing out on podiums. Another celebrated a pole position by announcing a significant personal milestone, and yet another is known for his calm, collected demeanor. There's a Finnish-Australian driver who occasionally shares humorous posts online, another who has long spoken of opening a restaurant despite his considerable wealth, and a final driver who embodies the spirit of a high-performance athlete. So far, I've lauded F1 as the pinnacle of motorsports, second only to the Cars movie, of course. But what truly makes F1 so captivating? It's the crashes and accidents. These incidents are not just thrilling to watch, but they also highlight the dangers of the sport and can render the track unsafe. This leads to various flags being waved during a session. A single yellow flag is usually displayed when a car goes off track or a minor incident occurs, while double yellow flags signal a more hazardous situation. Red flag is reserved for major incidents, such as Zhou Guanyu's carping into a barrier, Charles Leclerc's frequent brushes with the walls in Monaco, or Sergio Perez's dramatic moments in 2023. Other flags include the blue flag, which warns slower cars that a faster car is approaching and they need to yield. Black flag, indicating a penalty, warning, or disqualification. The green flag, signifying that racing can resume. And finally, the checkered flag, which marks the end of the race and determines the winner. That last part about deciding the winner through a chess game was a joke, in case you couldn't tell. Another amazing aspect of F1 is the team radios, where drivers communicate with their engineers. Fernando Alonso is famous for some truly iconic radio messages, from declaring, "I have no brakes, no tires, we are out of the points," to expressing sheer frustration. And who could forget Kimi Räikkönen, who often seemed to speak more on the radio than anywhere else, with memorable lines like, "Hey, hey, steering wheel, somebody tell him to give it to me." F1 is also rich with rivalries. We saw the intense battle between Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen at the start of the 2022 season, before Ferrari's strategies took their toll. And of course, the legendary 2021 season featured the epic rivalry between Max and Lewis, whose on-track proximity was so constant, the FIA almost had to issue them a penalty for public display of affection. Next, let's touch upon the rules, which are meticulously crafted by the FIA. They decide who gets penalized for breaking these rules, and sometimes their decisions can be quite controversial, which certainly adds to the drama. Here's a quick rundown of some key F1 rules. Track limits dictate that if all four wheels of your car cross the white lines defining the track edge, you'll likely receive a penalty. Speeding in the pit lane is strictly forbidden and results in a penalty. Overtaking rules are precise. If you make contact with another car during an overtake, you risk a penalty. And finally, the most important rule: if you're Romain Grosjean, sometimes the car just spontaneously combusts. The final aspect of Formula One we'll explore is its team principles. These individuals are the leaders of their respective teams, guiding them towards victory. Mercedes' team principal, Toto Wolff, is known for his passionate expressions and has transformed from a fierce competitor to a somewhat endearing, though still intimidating, figure in recent seasons. Christian Horner, the team principal of Red Bull, has famously been roasted by commentators like Martin Brundle for never quite making it to F1 as a driver himself. Mike Crack, Aston Martin's team principal, leads his team with a steady hand. James Vowles, now at Williams, used to give Valtteri Bottas quite the intense radio messages during his time at Mercedes, urging him to abort fastest lap attempts. Andrea Stella, McLaren's team principal, quietly orchestrates their operations, though many fans still associate McLaren's leadership with the charismatic, if occasionally cringeworthy, Zak Brown. And finally, Günther Steiner. While he was recently replaced, he remains a legend in the hearts of many. Günther is the type of person who could swear sis 9 times in a sentence containing only 5 words, known for his no-nonsense approach and memorable outbursts, like when he famously stormed into his office. So, that is Formula One, and the most accurate explanation I can offer. It's a sport of incredible highs and lows, intricate strategies, and unforgettable personalities. I may have missed a few details, so if anything comes to mind, please let me know in the comments. But what I do know is that even if I fumbled a bit, I certainly didn't fumble as hard as some teams did in 2023. Thank you so much for watching.